This is Gary from Pickleball Travel here with Mark Price. Very fortunate to be in Jamaica with you and the group that came here in November. We did a group last year and it worked out great. Everybody says your camps are terrific, and I've learned a lot just in the 15 hours that we had the camp.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, Mark, I have talked to you about your life and some of the places you've been and some of your pickleball experiences, but could you just give us an idea of what brought you to this place? You know, where you came from and how that affected where you are now.
Where I came from in terms of country or
country and sports,
coaching,
and then what brought you to the States?
Yeah, so I'm originally from England, from a place called Chester. It's actually a small village called Talon Green in Cheshire. It's in between Wrexham and Whitchurch, and the closest city is Chester, and then Manchester is a place where people would probably recognise. So I grew up in the countryside. I'm the son of a doctor and just fell in love with sport from a young age. My brother and I have got a brother who's 2 years younger, and we would just play sport, you know, every day, soccer every day together, and we competed against each other for years. And just, you know, from very young, from 4 years old, just playing with a soccer ball and playing tennis together and just competing, you know, throughout our lives. So my brother and I are very sporty and just, you know, spent all our free time playing sport. So every time we're out of school, in lunch breaks and after school, we were just playing sport all the time. And, you know, fell in love with coaching from a young age, went to a private school and had high-level national coaches and just had a really good experience of what great coaching can be. You know, I think many people have mixed feelings about coaches. You know, if you've had great coaches, then it's been a positive experience. And if you've had coaches that were very harsh or sort of, you know, challenging, then you can have sort of mixed feelings about what a coaching experience can be. But I was fortunate to have very high level coaches who are kind and really want to bring the best out of us. So from a young age, and you know, from sort of 12 years old, I was set on, I want to be a sports coach when I grow up, and just pursued that since I was very young.
Did you think of anything other than sports and coaching for a career?
No, I was just sat on coaching from sort of 12 years old. You know, we did sport in a private school. So just sport every single day for several hours, and just fell in love with sport. I sort of I didn't want to go through the traditional route of going to university and becoming a PE teacher. I was sort of determined to be a coach. I didn't want to sort of be bound to coaching in schools. I wanted to be sort of free to travel and free to almost choose how I want to, you know, live as a coach. And so, you know, I sort of broke the rules in terms of I didn't go to college, university and train to be a sports teacher or PE teacher, where you have to get, you know, biochemistry and different sort of, you know, sports science degrees. I wanted to just really train as a sports coach. So I trained in outdoor activities as an outdoor instructor, and then worked in national governing body sports throughout my, you know, time training, and spent 7 years training to become an instructor. So I worked in gymnastics, soccer, tennis, squash, you know, rock climbing, kayaking, just trained as broad and wide as I could, and learning different skills in all these different sports. And just loved coaching from very young, and was determined to sort of pursue a career in coaching.
Yeah, it really comes across where we can tell as players, as students, that you're not just a good pickleball player who wants to coach as another aspect of his business, but that you really like it. It's obvious.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier about how you had the coaching that was a really positive experience that you learn from. And I noticed that today and some of the other days too, where you said it was, if your partner is having problems, let's not get negative on them, because it doesn't help any.
Yeah.
You know, stay positive, even if that person is hitting the ball in the net or whatever. We want to stay positive.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting, because so often with PPAs and the stuff you see online, everything's pretty intense, but my feeling is that you had just more of a light, where you care about your partner, you want them to succeed, so you're going to make that happen.
Chris makes an error, I'm saying to him, hey, it's okay, no problem, you got it. If I'm like, come on, Chris, get a grip, play better, get it over the net, Chris, maybe get it over the net. If I make this sort of comments, or I'm just making noises that make him feel worse, I'm pulling him down. I want to say, hey, it's okay, no problem. If I can lift him back up, and we can do the same with ourselves, then we're a 10. We make an error, I'm still a 10, I just made an error. One positive word in your game, one negative word causes you to give up and causes you to sort of deflate. So in your game, when you make an error and your partner goes, oh, you're so bad, or you're saying something negative in your own head, if you're saying, oh, you'll never get this is so difficult. If you can say one, it could just be, I've got this.
I've been in tournaments where there's players who are very aggressive and playing angry with the opposition, angry with their partner, and like almost shouting at you, like, come on, you should be doing better, you gotta do this. And I'll call them out and say, hey, listen, your aggression is not making me play better.
Right.
Your anger is not making me feel better about this game. I'm not playing better under the spirit of anger and upset. So I just think that people thrive on a spirit of praise and tend to shrink back under a spirit of criticism. And if we are negative or just critical, or our language or our tone is harsh, then it causes players to feel, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm letting you down. And obviously it's recognizing that errors aren't deliberate. When we make an error, it's an error. The nature of an error is that we're not trying to pop it up, we're not trying to make errors. So being angry with someone when they make an error is really unfair, because we all make errors. So if I'm angry with you when you make an error, then you have every right to be angry with me when I make an error. And yet I want to treat you the way I want to be treated. So I want to treat you with kindness and grace and encouragement, and just lifting players up when errors happen, and they do happen. And I think that there's a difference between sort of competitive drive and sort of pumping yourself up and getting loud and being critical. There's a distinct difference. I think the PPA, you see players get loud and vocal and sort of fire themselves up, and that's different from being critical to your partner. And I think that the top players understand that you've got to lift your player up, you've got to lift your partner up, and just be a light and be a player who is just encouraging, really. If I play with you and you feel I'm not upset with you, you'll play your best game. But if you feel I'm angry with you and you're letting me down, then you're going to be worried about playing. Oh, I don't want to make a mistake because Mark's going to be angry. Yeah. Whereas if I'm like, hey, no problem, that's okay, we got this, and you feel I'm happy and I'm not worried, then you'll be like, oh, he's not upset, and then you relax. Whereas if I start to get upset, then players get tense, and tense players and nervous players pop the ball up more often. So it's sort of having that place of encouraging, lifting up, and so that you play your best game.
For sure. And do I remember right that you've been in the States for about 8 years or 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah. So I moved here from Oxford. I was living in Oxford at the time, coaching in a private school. I then moved to America, married a girl from Rome, Georgia. So the reason for moving here was love, and found pickleball in the first few months. A friend of my wife's introduced me to the game, and I was resisted for 3 months. Just didn't want to play. The name put me off, like many players. And
did you know what it was about? Besides the name, did you know what?
No, I really had no idea. It just sounded like a silly game. You know, it just sounded. Yeah, I think the name put me off. I was like, I've never heard of this. It sounds ridiculous, so I'm not interested. And my wife said to me, you know, you play squash, and that's a vegetable. So just like, you know, pickle, you know, squash, pickleball, and I hadn't thought that way. I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. You know, squash is also a vegetable.
Right.
So yeah, but you know, played the game and fell in love on day one.
How did you develop your following so quickly? It's such a big amount of followers on Instagram and the other social media.
Yeah, I think that people can see passion and what's the word? You know, passion for the game, love for people, and expertise. You know, they can see skill. So I think, you know, when your passion meets your sort of your dreams and your skills, you're bringing these things together, then it's sort of a good combination. You know, I love what I do. I'm skilled at coaching. I've done it for many years, and you know, the ability to communicate something effectively and break something down and make it simple. I think that's what people are you know, hungry for. They want to understand the game, and you take it and you break it down to its simplest form and explain it where people can understand what you're talking about. I think, you know, if you can make complex things simple, then it's understandable for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, you know, many educators or, you know, people try and make simple things more complex than they need to be. And if we can take complex strategies and break them down to the simplest form, then it's sort of digestible and easy to follow. You know, we want someone to listen to something, a coaching tip, within 20 seconds, mm-hmm. and they go, oh yeah, that's really good, I really understand that. It's to the point, it's clear, it's simple. And that's where we found success is sort of taking, you know, some things are complex strategies in pickleball, but if we can simplify it and make it easy to understand, then people enjoy that. Mm-hmm. And I think the culture we live in now is such where people want short, bite-sized information. They don't want a long spiel. They want something that's quick, is simple, and they can understand how to apply it.
It's lying knee height, down here. I can't be too aggressive because I've got to clear the net and it's soft. So I'm going to brush vertical and aim for middle. I can't really get it any deeper. When I try and drive hard to the baseline off a low ball here, that's where I catch the tape. So it comes low, knee height, I'm going to brush vertical, go for middle. If it lands near my ankles, now I've got to defend and go cross-court drop. Like a half-volley drop shot. So I'm either going middle or cross-court, depending on the height of the ball that comes in on the third shot drop.
For sure. And I had been following you previous to meeting you or having anything to do with travel or bookings. I was following you, a couple of years ago, and that last year a group from Georgia just found me on Google, and they said, we have this coach, we want to go to someplace warm in the Caribbean. And I said, great. They said, who's the coach? And they said, Mark Price. And I said, the Mark Price on Instagram. And they said, yeah, but they said something else where I didn't think it was actually you, but then they said, yeah, he's got a substantial following. He's a well-known coach. And so it was interesting to know that I actually had been following before I met you. This is the first Pickleball Travel podcast, and it sounds like you've been all over the world for pickleball.
Yeah, it's been an exciting journey. The first year we were coaching just in Georgia. Second year we did 20 camps the second year across the States. And then third year we started getting international invitations. And so we've been in China, working with coaches in China. I was in Guatemala the last 2 years. And then we do a European tour in Scotland, England, So I mean, pickleball's growing rapidly across the world. So it's exciting to be, at the forefront of coaching and sort of developing players. And people are, what's beautiful is you come into new communities where the sport is exploding and they're just so excited to have coaching. A lot of these countries don't have coaches there. Or America, we've got a sort of, we're very blessed to have many courts, great facilities, and a lot of coaches. And there's PPR and PPA and these different, there's a pro tour as well as coaching organizations. So we're very blessed to have a lot of resources available. And in other countries, they don't have the coaches, or they're just trying to learn from YouTube. So I think, having high-level coaches in America is really special.
Right. They might have coaching, but it's just somebody that learned on YouTube, or maybe they tried to figure out the game on their own, but not proper coaching.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that a couple of my friends, really good friends from Scotland, Suzanne and Christos, they met Christos in France at the Pickle and Cheese tournament, and they've actually taken one of your camps in Scotland.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy to me that pickleball can be such a small world that the people that travel for pickleball will meet each other in random places around the world.
Yeah, incredible.
I'm curious about China. You said you were in China. A lot of people have talked about how the Chinese might really develop their pickleball. Is that something that you're able to see? Do you have a perspective on where China might be with pickleball and how, if they're putting a priority on that?
Yeah, I think the fact that the Chinese Pickleball Association brought us there to coach coaches, that they're sort of being strategic in their growth, so that, we could have gone there and run a pickleball camp for players, but they specifically want us to train coaches. So they sort of got a vision for bringing high-level players and coaches to China to develop coaches, and then get those coaches out across China to develop players. So I know there's several pros who are going there now to Asia and different areas who are developing the sort of pro side of it and also developing coaches. So I think they're going to be strong in the future. At the moment the level is not the same as in America. The pro level tour here is really far superior to what's happening in China. Because it's been established for longer, and we've got the best players in the world in America. But the Chinese are, they have a ping pong background, they have a badminton background, so these things translate very well, and so I think they're going to come on strong.
And how many courts they must have in China that are badminton courts that could easily be converted into pickleball courts? There must be just thousands and thousands of courts in China. And India too. You hear more and more about India, and obviously with over 1 billion people, they're going to be forced. Have you had any association with India? Have you been there?
No, not India. I've heard that there's a lot of good players coming out of there, and there's different tournaments happening in that side of the world where these players are coming together and competing at a high level. So it's exciting to see what's happening. I know they have cricket is their national sport. So I think racket sports and sports with a bat and a ball just lends itself well to a paddle sport. And I know in Europe, Spain and countries around the Mediterranean are adopting paddle. Spain's huge for paddle now. But I think pickleball is it's sort of growing rapidly, and I think it's going to continue growing throughout the world.
Yeah, I've been to quite a few locations around the world, and I ask two simple questions. And the first one is, where is the coolest place that you've ever played pickleball? It could be China, it could be Scotland. As far as the destination, and not necessarily the pickleball courts, but the coolest destination.
Coolest destination? I think Guatemala was a cool place. We were, in the mountains, so 6 hours from the city, and just playing with mountains surrounding you in the middle of nowhere, where they've converted tennis courts into pickleball courts, and it's just you're walking down these dirt roads with people carrying logs, and just incredible sounds of the jungle, and in the middle of the jungle, you've got this tennis courts that are now pickleball courts, and working with orphans, that was really special.
Okay.
And yes, that was just a special trip, really.
And so the second question I always ask is, if you could go anywhere in the world and then also play pickleball, where would you go?
Well, I used to live in Hong Kong many years ago, 20 years ago, so I'd love to go back there and run some pickleball camps would be cool. Just nice to visit the place again. I know that pickleball there's small communities across Hong Kong, so it'd be good to help develop the sport there.
And obviously, in some of the places that we've been here in Jamaica, and you've been to Costa Rica, and some of those places, are those places that you want to continue to do camps and do vacations for?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd love to work with you again. I think this trip's been very successful. I think bringing players from America to a tropical location, it just has a very special feel. Then a lot of our camps in America are usually 3 days. So doing a 5-day event is really great because you can marinate in the game. And we're spending 15 hours on court, so it's a long time. And I just think it's just a special time when they're on vacation. They can relax, they can enjoy the facilities, and spend 3 hours a day learning pickleball.
Right,
So,
because we had a week-long vacation, but some of that is travel. So we had 3 days of 3 hours each, and then the day off, and then the 2 days of 3 hours each.
Yeah.
I think it worked great. I like to have that day in between. I know a lot of people like to continue to play pickleball, but I thought the schedule worked out perfect. And so I think
let's do it again, 2025.
let's do it. 2025. Great. Well, I appreciate it, Mark.
You're welcome. Hey, good to speak to you.
All right. Cool.
Good. Did it record? That is the question.